Remember that our live lectures for the July 2024 examination, it's commencing on Monday, that is 8th of April 2024, and that is going to be running for 12 weeks. So we have the 12 weeks mentorship and training program that is going to be preparing you for the examination. Now remember also that now you can download videos right in our mobile application and be able to watch the playback over and over again to help you to pass the examination. So what it means is that you now don't have to think about internet bundle or internet cost again. You just lock yourself somewhere, get access to a Wi-Fi, or use the free night or lower data bundle night options, and then you download the videos. Then at every time or at anywhere you are, wherever you are located, you'll be able to watch the playback over and over again, all happening right in the mobile application. So it is really something that I know will help you to be able to prepare well for the examination and most importantly pass the exam. Today I want to share with you some key myths of the ICAG examination and provide you with some strategies that you can implement today, right now, so that in the next 12 weeks, you can position yourself to go into the exam or pass the examination. Now, if you're thinking about the new syllabus, I'm going to get into that later on. We are going to be releasing some videos from next week on the new syllabus. But all you have to know about is that the new syllabus, which is going to be examined first in November 2024, there is really no change in subject technically. So whatever subjects that you currently have remaining before that new syllabus will still be the same. The main thing that is happening is, the modification of some of the subjects and the changes that are coming in subject specific. So even if you are not going to sit for the July 2024 examination, it is not going to change anything. Whatever subjects you have remaining, that's the same thing you're going to have continuing for the current syllabus, which is going to be first examined in November 2024. So the new syllabus will come in. We'll talk about that later on. But for now, we want to just focus on the key issues. So let me share with you quickly the first point that I want to get ourselves into. So what is the myth about the ICA examination? There are people who have certain mindsets, certain ways of life that it's not going to help. And I've heard this over and over again from people, and I want us to really address some of these things to help you so you can pass the examination. The first myth of the ICA examination is, solve past questions. And if you solve past questions, you're going to pass the examination. Listen to me. Listen. I have heard this over and over again. I've been in the game over a decade. And I tell people this. This is what I want you to do. Whatever subject you are writing or you want to write in the July 2024, let's say you want to write financial reporting or public sector accounting and finance or strategic case study. I want you to go and download the past questions. Download the past questions. And I want you to check whether there is any similarity. The only similarity you find is the fact that the topics that are in the syllabus are going to be examined in the exam hall. So let's say corporate reporting or financial reporting. We know question 1 is always going to be on consolidated financial statements. Stay with me carefully. We know question 2 is going to be on accounting standards, IFRSs. We know question 3 is going to be on single entity financial statements, financial reporting students. We know question 4 is going to be on ratio analysis. That's the topics. We know question 5 is going to be theory area, some standards, conceptual framework, and other things coming in. So if you're writing the financial reporting exam, these are the topics in the syllabus. That is what you're going to be seeing in the exam hall. Now, thinking that solving past question is the way to go is not going to help you. Because pick each of the, like I said, download the last 5 examination dates, financial reporting, and look at the question 1 for the last few examination dates under the current syllabus, the last 5 examination. You will always see consolidated financial statement. Yes, because that is question 1. We have to have consolidated financial statement question there. But the questions are not the same. The terminologies, the choice of words, the phrases, the verbs, the statements that the examiner makes are not the same. So if you think you want to pass the ICA examination and you are just solving past question from 2019 and you think by that you will go to the exam hall and get something similar, I don't know. But that is wrong. That is why I want you to sit down, download the last 5 examination past questions, get the last 5 past questions on the ICA website. Check whether there is any similarity in the questions apart from the topics in the syllabus. There is no similarity. The words, the requirements, the context of the question, the structure of the question is always going to be different, although the topic is there. So instead of wasting time to solve the past questions, what you have to do is to understand the principles. That's the first thing you need to do. Understand the key principles that underlie the topics. So yes, I'm doing financial reporting. I know question 1 in the exam hall is going to be on the consolidated financial statement. Okay, what are the principles on consolidated financial statement? You have to understand the principles. That's the first thing. Okay, how do I get group structure? How do I get fair value of consideration transferred? If there is share exchange, how do I deal with it? If there is issue of loan note, how do I deal with it? If there is a deferred consideration, how do I deal with it? If there is a contingent consideration, how do I deal with it? Okay, how do I value NCI? NCI can be valued at fair value or at proportionate method. Okay, how do I calculate goodwill? How do I deal with group retained earnings? How do I deal with intra-group trading? If they sell assets among themselves, how do I deal with the transaction? These are the principles. So you first have to understand the principles. Now, when you understand the principle, you have to expose yourself to questions. Listen carefully. Exposing yourself to questions does not mean going into the past questions, because nothing in the past question will be in the exam hall. Nothing. The context, the structure, the phrases, the verbs, the statements, everything that is in the past question will never be asked again. So you have to expose yourself to questions. From where? From the ICAG question bank, from ACCA, from other sources. Because one of the challenges that people have is that, again, they think it's about solving the past questions. And so they pick the past questions and they are solving and they get more overwhelmed. Why? Because you don't understand the principles. And you pick one past question, you go to another year, it's the same topic, but there is nothing similar there. So you feel overwhelmed, you feel unprepared, and you go to the exam hall and you screw it up. So the first thing is this past question agenda. You have to get rid of it. There is only one reason, or there are just a few reasons I would want you to refer to the past questions. If you are referring to the past questions, you just want to look at the structure of the questions. You just want to look at the structure. Like I have stated here, if I'm writing financial reporting, question 1 is on consolidated financial statements. Question 2 is on accounting standards. Question 3 is on single entity. Question 4 is on ratios. Question 5 is theory. That is called structure. So if you are referring to the past questions, you are not referring to the past question to solve it and say, oh, inshallah, I've been able to solve from 2017 to 2024. Charlie, I'm going to kill the paper. No, you may fail woefully. And that is a reality. So you want to understand the structure. Then you want to, number 2, understand the verbs that the examiner is using. And I've shared this on the channel. You can check the how-to playlist to be able to see that. You want to see the verbs that the examiner is using. So what are the verbs the examiner is using? Describe. What does that mean? Explain. What does that mean? Demonstrate. What does that mean? These are the verbs the examiner is going to be using. So you want to familiarize yourself with the verbs that the examiner is going to be using in the exam hall. So when you're referring to the past questions, you're looking at the structure of the questions. When you're referring to the past questions, you're looking at the verbs that the examiner is using and what they mean and what you are required to do. Number 3, when you're referring to the past question, this is very important to me, is the chief examiner's comment. This is very important because in each examination guide, the chief examiner is going to make comments. He's going to make overall comments. Then under each of the questions, the examiner is going to say, oh, okay, students were not able to do this. These are the challenges of students. These are the weaknesses of students. So these are what students must do or tuition providers must do. That is what you need. Because in life, you observe by learning from other people's mistake. You don't have to fail before you learn your lesson. You just have to look at what people did to fail, then you avoid it, then you become successful. That is how you build your life. That is how you become successful as an individual. It's not rocket science. The chief examiner said, okay, the overall performance, the pass rate is 32%. Hey, 32. Wow. Okay, the pass rate is 15%. Hey, 15%? Wow. It means 10 people sat for the exam, less than 2 passed. Wow, we don't have 1.5 human beings. So let's say 2 people pass out of 10. Okay, it means if 1,000 people had sat for the exam, it means 800 of them failed. Wow. What did they do to fail? The chief examiner says it every time. He explains it every time in each of the past questions. So you read that comment, okay, these are the things students are doing. Poor writing skills, English grammar, not answering questions, attempting wrong questions, poor time management. These are the things the chief examiner is going to comment on. So what do? You pick that blueprint and then you're not going to apply. Okay, these are the things that chief examiner said we shouldn't do. Okay, or these are the things people did and they failed. All right, so I'm not going to do that. Like something that I tell you all the time, if you're writing financial reporting and corporate reporting, is in the exam hall, you don't want to answer the consolidated financial statement question first. How did I reach that conclusion? Because over and over again, the chief examiner's report has stated that students do well in the consolidated financial statement paper because they answered that as the first or the second questions, but they end up failing the exam. Why? Because the consolidated financial statement question is going to require a lot of time. It's going to require a lot of resources. It's going to require a lot of thinking. And before you know it, your time is near and you've not done anything. Yes, you've done the consolidated financial statement, but au revoir, mes amis. See you next semester. So I want you to, as you are going into the next examination, I want you to deal with this thing. Because there are a lot of people who call me and they're like, oh, Nhyira, I wrote the exam last semester. I want to join your intervention class. We don't do intervention. Or do you have any class where you are just solving questions? I don't have any class like that. If you fail the exam, it means you didn't understand the course. You didn't understand the principles. You don't just have to solve past questions. No. If you're looking at the past questions, you're looking at the past questions for structure. You're looking at the past questions for verbs that the examiner is going to be using. You're looking at the past questions, most importantly, to read the chief examiner's reports to identify things that people did which made them fail the exam, so you don't do that. Then you expose yourself to questions outside the past questions in the ICAG manual, in ACCA, and all other sources, because those are the areas that you could get a whisper in the exam hall. That's the reality.